As we know, a blast killed hundreds at that Gaza hospital, and Hamas and Israel are both saying the other person is responsible. The shifting narratives here could actually affect in many ways the Palestinian cause. For more on that now, let's go to Hen Mazzig, former IDF member and senior policy analyst. Hen, as the increasing number of images of shot Palestinians and in desperate straits, suffering from these Israeli strikes, do you think that there is a danger, as we're more than a week out, of some of the sympathy beginning to shift from Israel to the Palestinians?
Yeah, and I think a lot of us have expected it. We saw that in the beginning when Israel was retaliating in the first few days. We've seen that the world was understanding exactly where we are coming from because of the violence that we've seen, because of the massacre of over 1,300 Israelis, and because of the heinous crimes and the footages that we've seen from Gaza. But we knew that after the retaliation, we're going to see less and less support from the international community and less understanding. So we have expected it, and I wish it wasn't like that.
It does appear to be something that the United States and President Biden and his administration, Secretary of State Blinken, for example, understand. They have been counseling behind the scenes, according to many reports, to slow down to Netanyahu. Do you think that is working at this point? And how much of a problem in the middle of all that, and that urge to go slow, be careful, let's try and get humanitarian help into innocent Palestinians in Gaza, how much of that is now just thrown asunder with today's explosion at the hospital that Palestinians are now blaming squarely on Israel?
Yeah, well, the Palestinians are blaming Israel. We know from reports from Al Jazeera journalists and other video footage that we got from Gaza showing that the explosion was actually caused by rockets fired from Gaza rather than from Israel. So that's an important point to make. And I understand that some of the Hamas and the Islamic Jihad spoke people are claiming that it was Israel, but it's the same people that just a week ago murdered babies and burned them alive. So I think it's an important point to bear in mind. I do think that Israel has been very cautious, and we're talking a lot about proportionality and the response to the violence. And I think Israel has been very measured and actually did not invade Gaza by foot. Just because of that reason, Israel is mindful of the innocent civilians. And I think that's why when we're speaking about this hospital, Israel could have bombed an hospital if they wanted to. They could have bombed every hospital in Gaza if they wanted to, but they don't want to. The IDF is trying its best to protect civilians, both on the Israeli side and the Palestinian side, bearing in mind that there are 200 Israeli civilians, elderly women, babies that are being held by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So Israel will not do anything to jeopardize them. We know that Hamas is holding them in those centers of terror that they're hiding under hospitals even. So we know that this is the situation and how delicate it is. And the Israeli army, from my experience serving for 5 years as a humanitarian officer, is doing its best to protect human lives.
How important will it be for Arab media like Al Jazeera? You mentioned Al Jazeera having videotape showing that, in fact, it was a rocket from Palestinian groups that exploded in that hospital. How important will Arab media I imagine it's got to be hugely important, I'm asking you, but I would imagine it's really important if you have Al Jazeera saying, yes, it was a Palestinian group, Islamic Jihad, that blew up this hospital by mistake. It was not the Israeli Defense Forces.
Yeah, Elizabeth, you're so right about this, but I think we're living in the upside down. Even the conversation about, I've just remembered that a week ago we had a conversation of whether or not Hamas beheaded those babies or just burned them alive, which was shocking to a lot of us, but we had this conversation for over a week. And now in a matter of few minutes, they already counted that there were over 500, now it's 900 bodies. I don't know how you can count 900 bodies in less than 20 minutes, but they did. And immediately Hamas and the Islamic Jihad released this statement, and immediately the whole whole world, including politicians in America, like Representative Rashid Tlaib immediately posted about it, that it's Israel's fault. You know, it took Israel 3 days to count just 500 bodies. 500 bodies took us 3 days, and Israel has done everything it can to make sure that we are accurate with our numbers and with the casualties. But on the other side, it's not only that it's immediately accusing Israel, it's also immediately inflating it and bringing the numbers high. So I think it's very important that we're seeing it, but it's very concerning that even though Al Jazeera released a video, there's an evidence, and it's still not enough for people. I don't know what will be enough for them.
Hen Mazzig, that's really an important point. We're not just dealing with war here, we're dealing with everybody's attempt to spin it and use it to their own political ends. Very important to take a breath and wait and make sure you have all the information before you begin denouncing. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.